Welcome back. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating story from the world of cricket. It's about a brilliant, almost perfect plan that was put together by some of the biggest legends of the game to fix a broken system. And we're going to talk about why it all came crashing down. So let's get right into it. What does happen? We're going to unpack this incredible reform plan for Sri Lankan cricket. On paper, it was flawless, but in reality, it ran headfirst into a brick wall. This is a classic story of a great idea meeting an immovable object.
Okay, so picture this. It's 2021, and Sri Lankan cricket has been struggling for a while with some really deep structural problems. To fix it, they put together what you can only describe as a dream team, a committee of absolute legends.
I mean, just look at this lineup. The sheer weight of experience here is unbelievable. These guys weren't just some of the best players to ever step on a field, they've also been heavily involved in cricket administration since they retired. You literally could not have picked a more qualified group of people for this job. So what was their mission? Well, they were there to solve this one huge fundamental problem, a missing middle layer. Basically, there was this giant gap in the system where talented young players from schools and clubs would just disappear. There was no clear path to get to the top. So, what did this dream team come up with? And this is where you can really see their genius at work. The committee didn't just suggest a few small changes. Nope, they designed a completely new structure from the ground up. Something that was clean, logical, and really powerful. Their plan was basically a 3-step masterpiece. Step 1, create 5 strong regions by grouping all the existing clubs and schools. Step 2, give each of those regions top-tier elite support. And step 3, and this is so important, create a new tournament structure. That second XI tournament was absolutely crucial. The idea was to make sure every player in those new regional squads got to play, instead of just warming the bench.
So let's be super clear. This wasn't just about adding a new tournament. This was a complete redesign of the entire talent pipeline, all aimed at long-term success. You look at this on paper, and it is just perfect. You'd think there's no way this could possibly fail. So, how did this perfect plan actually work out in the real world? Well, this is where the whole thing just completely unravels. The plan that actually got put into place was nothing more than a ghost of that original brilliant vision. The problems started right away. The very first change they made broke the entire logic of the system. See, the original plan wanted 15 top-tier clubs. Why 15? Because it divides perfectly into 5 regions of 3 clubs each. Simple, elegant, but the administration changed it to 12 clubs. Right away, the entire clustering idea became meaningless. Then they started picking players from all over to balance the teams, which totally defeated the whole point of regional development. And then, key parts of the plan just vanished. That super important second XI tournament? Yeah, never happened. So players were right back to sitting on the bench. The schools were never officially brought into the regional system, so the talent pipeline was broken at the source. It was like they systematically took apart a well-thought-out plan, piece by piece. And this quote from our source material really gets to the heart of the frustration. The excuses given for making these changes were seen as totally missing the big picture that the original plan was trying to fix. So the big question is, why? Why did this happen? Why would a brilliant plan designed by literally the best minds in the sport get so completely watered down? Well, the answer wasn't on the cricket field. It was buried deep in the administrative and legal rulebooks. According to the source material we're looking at, it really boils down to 2 main reasons, and both of them are completely baked into the system itself. First up, a massive conflict of interest. The whole point of the plan was to make these new regional bodies powerful. But doing that would automatically take power and money away from the individual clubs. And here's the catch. The clubs are the ones who vote for the cricket administration. So they were basically being asked to vote for a plan that would make them weaker. It was never going to happen. And second, and this might be the real kicker, the legal framework just wasn't there. This is a point the committee seems to have missed. You can't just invent powerful new governing bodies out of thin air. The country's Sports Act needed to be officially changed to legally create and empower these new regional boards. Without that legal change, they had no real power. And, this isn't some great mystery. The top cricketing nations in the world have already solved this problem. You look at India, England, Australia. They all had these powerful, legally recognized regional structures. It's a proven model. It works. So, what's the big lesson here?
What's the ultimate takeaway from this whole saga? It all comes down to this, a fundamental mismatch. The plan and the system were just completely incompatible. You could say the Aravinda de Silva Committee designed this amazing 21st century piece of software, but they tried to install it on a computer running on decades-old hardware. It was just never going to run.
And that really nails the core issue, doesn't it? The plan itself wasn't the problem. It was a great plan. The failure was in underestimating just how hard it is to change the environment, the political and legal system that the plan had to exist in.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. This story isn't just about cricket in Sri Lanka. It's a huge lesson in how hard reform can be for any organization, in any field, anywhere in the world. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.